Sunday week 9 is wrapping up. Welcome to the favorites presented by DraftKings. I am your host, Brandon Kravitz, joined by my fellow DJs, at least one of them. Kendra Middleton is here with me. Do we have Stuckey, by the way?
Yeah, he's here.
Stuckey is here. Also, the Prime Minister. Of course, we hit our parlay. We all have to come on and chat with you about it. We've got our goats and woats queued up. Our biggest takeaways from the Sunday slate. Danny Dimes turning back into a pumpkin right after Halloween, and they ship off.
Try to tell you.
Yeah, that you did. Perhaps a quick goat for me is just our society at large does nothing faster than transitioning from Halloween to Christmas. It happens within hours. You can't find a pumpkin anywhere, perhaps other than Danny Dimes on a day
not
like
if you're
today.
a Colts fan. You're gonna have to deal with the pumpkins the rest of the season. It's gonna be Halloween until they get bounced in the first round.
They are very much this year's Minnesota Vikings. I think we all figured it would happen eventually. Maybe not this week against a Steelers defense that hadn't been able to stop a nosebleed. We do have a Monday Night Football SGP that we're going to deliver on this episode as well. We got you covered right up until the Sunday Night Football game starts between the Seahawks and the Commanders. But first, a recap on a very successful day for the favorites. The 2 Kings and a Queen parlay. The 49ers.
So bad it was good.
I mean, we all kind of forecasted that we felt so disgusting ending the Thursday episode that is like, this has to go well for us because nobody feels good about it. 49ers money line cashes, barely a sweat there. The Panthers don't just cover, they win the game, but the cover itself was a no sweat bet throughout the course of the afternoon. And then the Falcons eke out a cover. We go 3 for 3. So how about that? Hope he tailed us out there. Guys, we've now hit 2 of these. So I think I haven't mathed it out yet, but I think we're profitable on.
Yeah, way in the green. I think up a couple, 2.5, 3 units on these. Yeah, I'll get my goat out of the way. It's Drake London. 3 touchdowns, including the 4th down snag. Unbelievable catch. Secondary goat, Parker Romo. Shout out, missing that extra point, sealing the cover. Patriots didn't have to do anything after that. Thought Drake May didn't have a great game. He kind of kept the Falcons in it. He had the fumble at the end of the first half that led to 7, the pick that led to another touchdown. But the Patriots escaped with a win. Crazy that if the playoffs halfway through the season, the AFC is done. We only have NFC the rest of the way in 2 primetime games. The season ended today. The AFC playoffs would be 1 seed, Pumpkin Dimes, 2 seed, the complete fraudulent Broncos, the 3 seed, the Patriots, 4 seed, Steelers, 5 seed, Bills, 6 seed, Chargers, 7 seed, Jags, Chiefs and Ravens, who'd probably be favored over the entire field, are not in the playoffs as of right now. The Jags, as a result of that Bills win and the 2-point conversion miss, the Jags would be in the playoffs because they beat the Chiefs. So they have head-to-head over Kansas City. So, yeah, what a game, that Jacksonville game. There was 9-6 going into the 4th. There was 40-something points from that point on. Crazy.
Kendra, I just know that your GOAT not only is the great Trevor Lawrence, never in doubt in this one. And those also Cam Little, the field goal kick of a lifetime. We figured it would happen this season. We kind of thought that maybe we'd get a 70-yarder. We'll see if Brandon Aubrey might end up breaking this by Monday night. But for now, Cam Little holds the record, longest field goal in NFL history with 68.
I have so many things to say. First of all, I have an announcement. Everyone be quiet. I'm done defending Trevor Lawrence. I'm done. He kind of sucks.
Win.
He kind of sucks. I have to say
That's your take after that game?
Yeah, I think so. That one interception that he threw, I don't think it's getting too hard to defend him anymore. Like, the drops are obviously an issue, but if the drops have been, I'm starting to fall more in line with if the drops have been an issue for 4 of his 4.5 seasons now. They've been an issue. Maybe it's not just the receivers. He either has to be down 30 points and have to come back, and every single throw of his has to be perfect and is perfect if he's behind 3 scores, 4 scores. Other than that, he just is so just frustrating, holds on to the ball too long, makes dumb decisions, makes bad reads, makes slow reads. I'm done with that. My vote, however, is not Trevor Lawrence. It's Trayvon Walker, because what the hell was that punch? Did you guys see that?
Yeah, that was weak. Even my
That
son,
was
who just turned 6 2 days ago, goes, "Why did he do that?" I had a hard time explaining it.
Thank you. Thank you. He's good for 2 of those a season. I swear to God, it's just one of these dumb, boneheaded, what the hell are you thinking? Stupid, typical Georgia football. Fucking, I hate it. I hate it. My goat, however, Colston Loveland has to be. I would have lost my Bears bet if it wasn't for that touchdown. I needed a touchdown. I had come to peace with, I had grieved that loss already in real time. And somehow, some way, get the cover. What a day. Somehow the Jags win. The injury report next week is going to be insane, because the fact that De'Ami Brown went to the locker room, Hunter Long is definitely hurt. Just everybody up and down the roster. Shout out Parker Washington. Shout out Cam Little. Everybody else blows. Whatever.
Yeah, I'll spin it positive for the Jags. Look, they're 5-3. Yeah, a lot of injuries today worth noting. Secondary too. But they pulled it out. Road wins are never easy, and they threw it to Parker. Parker Washington was targeted like 11 times today. They pulled out the win. Now they get the Texans next week. They're 5-3. They get the Texans next week with
Davis Mills, probably.
Yeah, with probably Davis Mills. And you got to remember, to end the season, they have one of the easiest schedules in the NFL. They have the Titans twice over the final 4 weeks. They do have the
Titans looked
Colts.
okay today.
They do have the Colts twice.
The Titans are trash. Don't do this to us.
I know they're terrible, but they
had 2 non-offensive touchdowns, and they still lost by 7. And then they have the Jets too. So this is the team with the schedule that they're certainly going to be live for a wild card spot right up until the final week.
They're just so undisciplined. It's hard to feel that way.
By the way, if you think Davis Mills is not a good quarterback, if you think if you want to buy in on this now, looking ahead to next week, the Jags are plus 1.5 on the spread, plus 102 on the money line. If you think it's Davis Mills, that might be worth an investment.
I mean, how are the Jags
I do think it's Davis Mills.
That's the problem. The Texans defense is really good. So I'm not saying that this is going to be the easiest win of your life, but I would be happy to bet against a favored Davis Mills if that's an investment that you want to make right now. But we're going to sit on our winnings.
It definitely works out scheduling wise if Stroud is out for the Jags. It was a devastating loss for the Texans. They should have been up. I mean, if Stroud doesn't get hurt, they win that game with ease. But they should have been up when he was in there by 14. They could just sneak the ball. They had 5 trips inside the 20 with 15 points or something. And obviously the Stroud injury was massive. But yeah, that was a devastating loss for the Texans season. And the Jags pull it out. And all the teams that people wanted to crown this week. The Chiefs, everyone was saying the Chiefs, they crowned them, the Lions, they all went down.
Those are my 2 L's on the day. I will say
the Colts, everyone wanted to crown the Colts. People were talking about the Colts as a top 3 team. Come on.
What you should be doing is crowning the favorites, because we bounced back pretty strong this week, guys. 5-2 on if you're following the favorites on the Action Network app, up 3 units on the day. We will bury ourselves in losses, but I do think that we need
I'm having a great season. I don't know about you guys.
Well, I've been a little up and down, but this is definitely the best day of the 9 weeks of the NFL season. So I'm gonna goat us right here. My vote is the Bengals defense. What a trash bag that is. Back-to-back weeks, they have totally screwed amazing performances from their offense. Joe Flacco's been incredible for this team. 38 points.
I love him.
40. They've scored 38 and 42 in back-to-back weeks. They're 0-2 in the last 2. This defense I just cannot imagine the feeling in the locker room of guys like T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, Flacco himself, whoever.
What a
Chase
day
Brown.
for T. Higgins, too. Ugh. He just went out there and put everything on the line. It wasn't even Jamar Chase to do it.
And in a comeback, too. You know, it was like they were We're talking about the last 2 minutes of this game. I had already tracked this bet that I had the Bengals up to 8.5 in a teaser. I had already tracked plus 8.5 as a loss before the game even wrapped. I was just like, okay, this one's over. Go ahead, get ahead of things for today. And then they come back, and then they come. Okay, so now I have to delete that. Then they come back and actually get the lead. And then they end up losing. Every time I stopped to recap this game, whether it was in an Excel spreadsheet or on the notes for this podcast, the result flipped. Just an absolute meltdown.
Yeah,
Which is why I was ready to take the L. I had literally come to terms with it.
7 lead changes in the game. The Bengals came in leading the league in missed tackles and yardage after missed tackles. They led this week once again. I think the Bears had 180 yards after missed tackles. Bengals first team in NFL history to allow 27 plus points and 350 plus total yards in 8 straight games within a season. Over the last 3 years, the rest of the NFL is 86-6-2 when scoring at least 38 points. The Bengals are 1-4. They're the only team with a losing record. They're 1-4.
Unreal. Let's go. Biggest takeaways from the 1 o'clock slate, and then we'll do our biggest takeaway from the 4 o'clock window. You mentioned, Stuckey, that this was the day of every mid-season crowned champion to fall. We need to mention the Green Bay Packers here, and this, I think, was my biggest takeaway from the 1 o'clock games, was how uneven this team looks, how inconsistent Jordan Love continues to be. The Packers didn't score an offensive touchdown until the 4th quarter. Bryce Young should not walk into your building, throw for 102 yards, and you lose the game. We have severely overrated this football team. I wasn't as high on them as you were, but I was still high on them. And and I had the Panthers today. They're even worse than, or more overrated than I gave them credit for going into today. So I'm going to go Packers, add them to the overrated list, just like everybody else.
I know there's a lot of parity in the league. I still love the Packers. It was, I mean, what, they had 400 yards of offense and 13 points. Their special teams they got to figure out. It's a problem. Tucker Kraft injury, that could be
He's
big.
out for the year. ACL
Oh, he is?
injury. Yeah, ACL.
I didn't even see that.
That's huge. He's
So
their best receiver.
yeah, that's a
And
big,
I don't believe in Jordan Love. I don't. You can't make me.
that's a big loss for the Packers. I will say that, yeah, early slate. Um, Other takeaways that I had. I mean, the couple that I had written down were the Lions. Some of the issues that we talked about coming into the year. By the way, JJ McCarthy played really well. He finished
Yeah,
14
he
25,
did.
145, 2 touchdowns, but like that's really good for what we saw earlier in the year. He was on the road in Detroit, coming off of a bye. Um, and he made that throw at the end of the game. But some of the issues that we talked about potentially harming the Lions. Because look, I mean, now the Lions are they're 5-3. They're the same record as the Bears. We talked about the interior of the offensive line. And this was a Detroit team that was 8-0. I think Goff was 8-0 against the spread against the Vikings. He had under Ben Johnson, he had owned Flores. And now, without Ben Johnson and that interior offensive line, which is nowhere close to as strong as it has been, Flores and the Vikings defense completely took advantage. They were getting gobs of pressure up the middle. And that's how you beat Goff. You pressure him up the middle. I think they had 5 or 6 sacks, 10 or 11 tackles for loss. So that kind of vulnerability of this Lions, and it showed. We saw the Lions for years under Ben Johnson with one of the best interior offensive lines dominate the Vikings. Well, today it was the Vikings defense that dominated that game with pressure and
I
negative
thought
plays.
McCarthy played well also. And then when you look at, to back up that point, the Lions, when you start to look at those wins, okay, what were the issues defensively that some of the teams they went up against have? And pressure is an issue for pretty much all of these teams other than the Browns.
Except the Packers. The Packers get elite pressure, and they remember that game? The Lions offensive line lost in that game.
I was able. I feel like you could just like throw that one out as a week 1. What the fuck just happened? But I mean,
But it's still
still,
a matchup thing.
like
Like it was that defensive line versus the offensive line because then you
they
see you.
overcame the matchup with the Browns, so yeah, they had that in their back
But that
pocket.
Browns defense on the road is not what they are at home. But they played the Bengals. The Bengals can't get any pressure. They played the Ravens, incapable of getting pressure, especially with their injuries. The Bears can't get any pressure. So that's going to be the thing with this Lions team is that if you can generate inside pressure, it's going to be a problem because they just don't have the same caliber of interior offensive line as they did in the past. And as we thought coming into the season, the the NFC North is going to be a war from start to finish. Packers still in first. The Bears and Lions are in second place, a game behind. The Vikings are now right there. That's going to be a close race throughout the season.
Kendra, what about you? Biggest takeaway from the early window?
My biggest takeaway from the early window is that Drake May is actually probably the best quarterback out of that class. I'm glad, we didn't rush to the window on that one, but they're gettable. I think that the Patriots are absolutely gettable. Their team just does not have the depth that I think that they need to for people to be overrating them as much as they are. They deserve their flowers. 6 in a row. The team has outkicked their coverage. Vrabel looks great. Josh McDaniels' system's working really well for May. Stephon Diggs has been better than people thought they would. Travion Henderson had a really good day when he was allowed to. That team is still gettable.
Yeah, I don't. It's hard for me to see the Patriots winning the Super Bowl. Now, if some of these elite AFC teams don't get in, maybe they can get there. But and I don't think really even like realistic Patriots fans thought that this was going to be the Super Bowl year. This is like, all right, we're ahead of schedule, and Drake May looks like one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. So who
I don't
knows?
think you understand what people in New England are like. The expectation every single year is a championship or they are failures.
Yeah, I mean that's most a lot of. I'm talking about like the realistic fans because this team is still flawed. The defense still isn't great, and they still can't run the ball consistently because the offensive line is still a work in progress. They still can't protect May consistently, and that's one of the biggest things that I think speaks to how good I think May is going to be because he doesn't have a ton of help, right? He doesn't have the best receiver core in the NFL. He doesn't have it's a bottom five rushing attack this year, and his pass protection isn't great. So like what he can improve his like pressure to sack ratio a bit. I think he has the second highest in the league, but you take that with what he's doing downfield with some of his deep passes. But this team still has flaws, but I mean, it's the NFL this year, so do most teams.
I came away I think, more impressed with the Patriots this week with the way that they were able to win, just because they haven't really had to win these gritty kind of games. They've been blowing teams out, and to see them in a close game situation at the end.
But they didn't even really win the game. He missed the kick. They had 0 fourth quarter points. They had 3 second half points. That's not really a gritty win. It's the other team losing it.
Well, they still won, but
the Patriots have some close wins. They beat the Bills by 3, the Saints by 5, the who else? The Dolphins.
Kendra's gonna go on sports talk radio in the Boston area and go, guys, I know it counts as a win in the standings, but that was an L.
Well, no, the Falcons, like that's the thing is like the Falcons were on such a warpath. Had he not missed that kick, I think the Patriots would have lost this game in overtime because the Falcons had all the momentum.
Drake London was just unguardable.
He was awesome today
in that game.
We only had 4 o'clock games, so we can be very brief with this. But my biggest takeaway is
the Jags suck.
The Jags. I mean, they beat the Raiders, but yeah, you want to talk about a win that's not a real win. I'm going to say I would not nominate. Maybe that should be a weekly segment on Sundays. A win that shouldn't count as a win. That would be the Jags beating the Raiders in the deepest depths of overtime. But for me, it's if the Bills can generate the kind of pressure they got on Patrick Mahomes for the rest of the season, watch out. I think that's a team that could zoom to the top. They're already close to it, but zoom to the top of the power ratings and be a team that we start to take very seriously again as the Super Bowl favorite if they continue to do that.
I mean, the Bills have been able to generate pressure all year. I think more so than that. Although Hoyt, it looked like he hurt his Achilles. He was suspended the first part of the season. He was a great chess piece. You saw that today. So his loss will be big. But the biggest problem for the Bills for large stretches of this season and what has cost them in every playoff loss since Allen has gotten there. It's not been Josh Allen. Josh Allen has been incredible in the playoffs. It's not been the offense. It's been the defense. Go back to any, not part of that is who they're playing, but their defense has consistently let them down. And a lot of that is the secondary. And that's coming into the season, the secondary was the biggest question. Hairston, the rookie, who they drafted
Yeah, big pick at the
high
end.
from out of Kentucky to help fix that. He was hurt, debuted last week. He looked good. And his speed, going up against Worthy, he had an interception. Bishop also, safety's been a major, major question for the Bills. Bishop had an incredible game. Thought it was his best game by far as a pro. If he can play like that consistently, and Hairston, can solidify the other corner spot on the outside, then all of a sudden that secondary, you match it with the pressure that they're able to generate, then all of a sudden you have a defense. And you don't need the defense to be, the Texans, because you have Josh Allen. You just need that defense to not wet the bed come January. And in order to do that, you're going to need the secondary to be competent at the bare minimum. And those two players could be the key to getting the Bills over the hump finally.
What about you guys? Kendra, 4 o'clock window. Oh, well, the Jags suck. Okay, it's Stuckey next.
I was gonna say that is the Jags.
You're
I think
selling your Trevor Lawrence stock feels like a pretty big takeaway for you on a Sunday.
I think. Oh, go ahead, Steph.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say I think that is my biggest takeaway is that this team it's also just stupidity on their part. They're so undisciplined. The fact that ETN goes on these absolute ball out, couple downs, and they go away from the run and back to the passing game. It feels like incompetence from top to bottom. Players are getting ejected, the penalties, the drops, the interceptions. I can't. This team sucks. They're the same old Jags. Their Super Bowl was the Chiefs. Of course, they're gonna look really good at the beginning of the season with the toughest part of their schedule. They're gonna get hurt and fall apart. It's the same old Jags, dragging off as always. Don't trust this team. They suck. They suck. I have been through this my entire life now. I know how this is gonna go. This is how they keep me reeled in here, but they're actually ass.
I will say the Jags, so they had the ball almost that entire game. And so they had the ball for 43 minutes. That was their time of possession. The Raiders, now, I mean, who needs another break more than the Broncos? They play the Broncos in Denver.
Yeah, how about those Broncos?
They play in Denver on Thursday night after playing an overtime game where their defense is on the field for 43 minutes. If you go back historically, teams off an overtime game on short rest have been atrocious against the spread. 7-25 against the spread on short rest after an overtime game. And on top of that, like I said, their defense was on the field the entire game. Bowers obviously brought a lot back to
He's
that
so
offense.
fucking good, dude.
Yeah.
I can't even. He's so that one armed catch that he had. I was like, I'm not even mad about that. That was sick. I want to actually do that again.
And just like at Georgia, they can use him in the run game too. It's such a shame that he's being wasted on the Raiders.
Yeah, but that's a brutal spot now. On Thursday night, short week, you lose on a 2-point conversion at the last second of overtime. And your defense is on the field for 43 minutes and you're going to altitude. But then you have to, in order to fade that, you got to bet the Broncos, who have I don't even know the Broncos.
They're a ticking time bomb. I bet on them this weekend. I'm not going to bet on them again for a couple of weeks. I did text one of my buddies today who's a Bears fan, and I was like, how would you feel if I said, let's trade Trevor Lawrence for Caleb Williams straight up? You take on Trevor's contract. Obviously, the Jags will take on Caleb's. Who says no? And he was like, honestly, as a fan, I wouldn't say no to that. I think they both just need a fresh start somewhere.
Yeah, I agree. The Broncos are a ticking time bomb. This is what they've won 6 straight. Could have lost to the Jets, who had -10 passing yards. They should have lost to the Giants, where they were down 20 in that game. And then all the Giants secondary guys got hurt and they missed 2 extra points. They had that crazy comeback against the Eagles. They beat Jake Browning and then they beat the Texans today because CJ Stroud gets hurt. Like it is one of the most laughable 6-game winning streaks you'll ever see. So
I'm I'm sure that you've already mentioned this in passing, but I just want to reiterate that they're 10-point favorites on Thursday night. 10.
makes sense. Yeah. I think that's too high, but
Yeah.
Yeah, thank.
I don't know if like the spot for the Raiders is so bad. And Bo Nix looks competent when if he plays like a terrible defense. Um,
They just feel like they're built to beat everybody by 2.
I mean, they beat the Cowboys are a terrible defense. They blew the Cowboys out. So like that's when Knicks like if you look at Knicks' EPA this year, like all of it came against the Bengals and the Cowboys at home, and they were blowout wins. And those are two of they're probably the two worst defenses in the NFL. The Raiders aren't too far behind. Um,
Divisional opponent too, so we got to keep that in mind.
yeah, last year the Raiders had a similar defense last year. Um, the Broncos beat them 34 to 18 at home, and they won by 10 on the road. Um, so, and Knicks had decent games in both. I think there was a pick six in one of those games by Surtain that flipped the game, like a 105-yard pick six or something. But they did cover both last year and won by double digits. Like that's when Knicks usually has a good game when there's just. But Surtain's also not in there. The defense is completely different. You saw that early. Stroud was moving the ball up and down the field with ease. Um, but man, it's a tough spot for the Raiders.
My other big takeaway, though, the Rams could win the Super Bowl. And I'm so serious about that. I know that they
Sure.
beat up on the Saints, but they are so consistent. Matthew Stafford is probably having the best year of his career, and that's seriously something to say.
Yeah, Rams are a player for sure. Did
I'm with
Nakua
that.
get hurt? Did I say?
He got it was a chest injury. I don't know if he ever checked back into the game, but I would need them at full strength to back that financially, that opinion. But I do think that that team is good enough to get there. We are okay. So we had a really successful day. It's great. Okay, we can pat ourselves on the back for a second, but of course, in sports betting, it's all about what you do next. We're going to talk Sunday Night Football briefly. We're going to do a Monday Night Football same game parlay. Before we get to any of that, I'm going to toss it to Kendra for a word about our partners at DraftKings. All right, let's talk Sunday Night Football. Seahawks at Commanders. I'm on Jackson Smith and Jigba over 98.5 receiving yards. The number has ballooned up. I just punched my microphone. Ballooned up ever since Cooper Kupp was announced out. But I mean, he's gone over 100 yards in 5 of 7 this year. So I don't love either side. I think I would lean Seattle, but I'm just gonna go JSN big game. Kendra, it looks like I've already checked the app. You're on Seattle in this one.
I am on Seattle. I think the Cooper Cup thing obviously hurts them a bit, but I'm still locked into the Seahawks.
Is it a Seahawks buy or Commanders fade for you?
I think it's a little bit of both. The Seahawks are just so good on the road. It's hard for me to go anywhere against them. And I was waiting for I've said this all year. I've been waiting for this Commanders team to show who they are. Too many injuries, dumb coach. That's where I'm at.
Stuckey, you got anything tonight?
I got nothing. I do think that the like situationally, it's all Commanders. Although the Seahawks are coming off a bye, they've been great on the road under McDonald. But this is like a save your season spot. You're kind of buying them low. Also, I mean, I should say like travel wise and like that situationally, like they're on a short week. Seattle's off a bye. That favors Seattle. But just market wise, like this is probably the lowest that we've been on Washington all year, and maybe close to the highest on Seattle. But I can't get there with just matchup wise. Like at a flat 3, I would lean Washington. This has come down a bit. But I have no play. I mean, when I look at this, number one, like what is Daniels going to look like? Is it 100%, 90%? But there's no McLaurin, and this offense hasn't looked like it did last year, right? It's the rhythm isn't there. the league has started to adjust to some of the things that Cliff and he have done. The timing isn't there with his receivers who have been in and out and injured. And then the defense is really, really bad. It's old. Some of the pieces that they're relying on look like they're definitely past their prime. And then they have all the injuries up front on the defensive line, which basically prevents them from being able to generate pressure, which that defense needs to do. And because of that, the Seahawks, who are so good in play action, there's just going to be so many opportunities for them to have. There's just going to be wide open guys. So I just don't know how Washington is going to get consistent stops. And then you look at Seattle's defense. This is a defense that can generate pressure at an elite level without blitzing. And I think their defense is only going to get better as the year goes on, as a McDonald you would expect from a McDonald defense. And you got to remember that this is a defense that wasn't healthy earlier this year, right? All of the secondary injuries. So they're getting healthier in the secondary. They also didn't have DeMarcus Lawrence for a part of the season. So this defense is scary because one of the best defensive coaches in the NFL. Now your secondary is getting healthier and they can generate pressure without blitzing, which always gives you a leg up. So, yeah, like matchup wise, would lean Seattle as well, but this is a pure pass for me.
Seattle right now -2.5. The juice at -120 on DraftKings as it stands right now. So it looks like Washington has taken some money. If you're buying Seattle, you're also buying into the possibility that Jaden Daniels just comes up lame. This is a hamstring injury that's had him out, and you know that those will just pop up at any random moment. So something else to consider for tonight. All right, now we're going to toss it to Kendra for a word about DraftKings.
The Favorites podcast is sponsored by DraftKings Sportsbook, and in partnership with DraftKings, Favorites listeners get a great offer. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $300 back in bonus bets if your bet wins, and 3 months of NBA League Pass for new customers. To get started, use code FAVORITES when signing up with DraftKings. That's code FAVORITES when signing up with DraftKings for 3 months of NBA League Pass and $300 back in bonus bets if your bet wins. The crown is yours.
To our DraftKings Monday Night Football Fast Pass Parlay before we send you on your way. Sunday Night Football starting in minutes. Arizona, the matchup you want if you've got a good quarterback tight end combo. I'm going back to the prop world for this one. Give me Jake Ferguson over 4.5 catches against the Arizona Cardinals tonight. That will be my leg of the parlay. Kendra, what do you got?
I was going to say that's where I was going to go. Can you go to Stuckey first? Just so Stuckey. I can find the odds on this one thing that I want really quick as a backup. I should have looked at your notes.
All right. So this is the beauty of being the host of the show is you get to steal all of the good props. All right, Stuckey, what do you got?
I'm going to go with the Cardinals plus 3.5. I just really wanted 3 here. So now the fact that it was 3.5, I bet it. It's 3.5 at DraftKings right now, -115, which I think is fine. The offenses looked better with Brissett this year. This is a team that went toe to toe with Indianapolis when they didn't even have their receivers. They've also been dealing with secondary injuries all year. Should be healthier on that front. I do think this is a well-schooled defense. They'll prevent explosive plays. I know the Cowboys' offense is electric at home. They'll get their points here, but the Cowboys' defense is horrendous.
They have injuries on that side of the ball too.
Yeah, they have more injuries.
On top of
not
bad.
like it matters. Can it get? I was thinking about this the other day. I was like, all right, well, Dallas has more injuries. I'm like, well, like, can it actually get any worse? Like,
it might actually make them better.
But yeah, the Cowboys have more injuries. Safety injuries. So like they're like Diggs is on IR. I mean, he's been awful, but like this is a Cowboys team that cannot stop anybody. So you could say like, oh yeah, they'll put up 40 at home. They did that against the Giants and didn't, against Russell Wilson and couldn't cover 3.5. They put up 40 against the Packers, couldn't win the game. So yeah, there's no reason why the Cardinals can't keep up. So yeah, the Cardinals basically the perception on the Cardinals compared to who they are. I talked about this last week. There's a huge disparity there because the Cardinals are 2-5. People look at they're 2-5. They lost 5 in a row. They easily could be 5-2. I mean, they lost to San Francisco by 1. because of it. They dropped a wide open pass to win that game. They lost on a last second field goal to Seattle after they messed up the kick. They lost to the Titans in the most improbable loss of the year by 1. They lost to the Colts in Indy by 4. And then they lost to the Packers at home by 4. There's a team, their last 5 losses have come by 13 total points. Um, so yeah, I mean they're like the anti-Broncos this year. So like this team isn't that bad. They haven't lost a game by more than 4 all year, and just like everybody, they're going to be able to score in Dallas. And I do like uh, this defensive scheme, and they're going to be healthier on that side of the ball coming out of the bye, which they needed. Like if there was one team that needed a bye more than any other team, it was them. They were so snake bit, and they also had a ton of injuries. But like just the mental anguish of that 5-week losing streak, like every game in crazier ways, all by 1, 2, 3, or 4 points. I think the bye came at the perfect time. I think you'll get their best effort here. So yeah, anything over a field goal I think is good here.
I
Okay.
real quick, Kendra. Not that anyone should care about this, but to Stuckey's point about the perception not meeting reality on the Cardinals, my power rating has them. Just think about them in line with the 49ers, who I think most people think, oh, that's a pretty good football team. The Chicago Bears, who continue to put up a bunch of points. They're higher rated than the Steelers, who just beat the Colts. So, this team, I tend to overrate the Cowboys a little bit, but to the Cardinals' point, they're not as bad as the record or perception would say. Kendra, what do you got? Can I guess
thought
what it
about
is?
going.
Can I
Sure.
guess?
Sure.
Marvin Harrison Jr. anytime
No.
touchdown. Damn.
No. I was gonna say, since we're coming off of a parlay win, I want you guys to tie break for me because I'm on the side. There are two sides of me. There is an angel on my shoulder and a devil on my shoulder. Do we go with the DeMercado anytime plus 390 as a long shot? We're feeling lucky type of thing.
He'll
Or do
drop
we
it at the goal line.
Or do we
I
love
don't
the
trust him.
over?
Can we get Bam? Can we get a Bam Knight touchdown? Can I go? I
would be willing to take that.
What about McBride?
Isn't McBride allergic to the end zone? Does he start?
Yeah,
Has
he's
he
like
scored
so
this year?
overdue. He's like so due for touchdowns. Just didn't like.
I remember saying that every week last year
I'll
until it became a thing.
I've
I'll
only
take
bet
the
him one
McBride.
time. Yeah, he likes Brissett. I've
right,
only bet him
let's take-
score a touchdown
let's
once.
take it.
All right,
Okay,
two touchdowns and a dog.
Let's do
I mean,
I mean,
McBride.
two tight ends and a
Two
dog.
tight ends and a dog. Can we
Yeah.
name the parlay that? Can we
Yeah.
get the production people to name the parlay that? Two tight ends and a dog. Fast pass parlay presented by DraftKings. Anytime touchdown for Trey McBride. Over 4.5 catches for Jake Ferguson and the Arizona Cardinals. Those stinky Cardinals plus 3.5 against the Cowboys. The favorites will return on Tuesday afternoon right here on the Action Network YouTube page where we talk NFL Week 10. Good luck with all your bets tonight and tomorrow night. We'll see you next time here on the favorites presented by DraftKings. We're out.